So Osho lived from 1931 to 1990.
Okay, tracking with you.
If we make this wildly generous assumption that he started reading at age 10 and read 5 entire books a day, every single day, for 50 uninterrupted years.
5 books a day is wild, but okay, let's say he did.
Even then, that's only about 1,800 books a year. Over 50 years, that totals just over 91,000 books.
Wait, really? So even with those crazy assumptions, he still falls like 60,000 short.
Right. The math proves it's factually impossible.
But hold on, let me push back on that calendar argument for a second. What if we factor in speed reading? Like, didn't JFK supposedly read 1,200 words a minute?
Sure, if Osho was a savant and just burning through pages. But even then, the calculation assumes 0 days off.
Ah, right.
Realistically, we have to subtract all the vast amounts of time he spent traveling the globe, teaching at universities, and hosting meditation camps.
Not to mention the, what, 4,000 to 5,000 hours of lectures he delivered?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so if the math makes physically turning 150,000 pages impossible, then he must have been using like a completely different definition of what it means to actually read a book.
Exactly. And the text provides a brilliant origin point for this alternate definition. It comes through a story Osho once told about the Buddha.
Oh, right. He shared this highly specific anecdote about Buddha's life that didn't exist in any historical record, right?
Yep, nowhere at all.
Wait, so he just fabricated a historical event out of thin air? I mean, that sounds less like profound spiritual insight and more like just making things up to suit his narrative. How did he even justify that?
Well, he argued that he understood Buddha's mindset so perfectly that he knew exactly what Buddha would do in that situation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he wasn't relying on a historical document. He was leaning on a deep psychological synchronization with the historical figure.
Okay, I'm definitely skeptical, but how does that tie back to his massive library?
What's fascinating here is how he applied that exact same logic to his reading. Osho claimed he only needed to read 1 or 2 books by a specific author to entirely grasp their underlying philosophy.
Like getting their foundational axioms down.
Exactly. He wasn't just memorizing facts. Once you understand a philosopher's core premise, like, say, that humans are inherently selfish, you don't really need to read their next 10 books.
Because you can logically predict what their arguments will be.
Precisely. From then on, he claimed he only had to look at a book's title or cover to know what was inside. He was reading the author, not the pages.
I get it. It's almost like, learning the rules of chess. Once you understand how the pieces are allowed to move, you don't need to memorize every possible game that's ever been played. You can just intuitively predict the strategies.
That's a perfect analogy. That structural understanding completely changes the definition of reading. He wasn't counting the physical turning of pages, he was counting the conceptual systems he had unpacked.
Which is a remarkably efficient way to approach vast amounts of knowledge.
It really is.
So what does this all mean for you listening to this deep dive? In our current age of severe information overload, this reframes how we think about learning.
Right. It's not about the sheer volume of pages you consume or, checking off a massive reading list.
Exactly. It's about how deeply you grasp the core philosophy behind the material.
Yeah. True understanding is about mapping the mindset and recognizing those underlying patterns rather than just hoarding isolated data points.
Which leaves us with a final thought to ponder. In our modern era of endless scrolling, are we actually absorbing the deeper mindsets of the creators we follow? Or are we just superficially counting the pages we scroll past? We might be consuming more data than ever, but really, how many underlying rules of the game are we actually mastering?